Piper Bob here again, and today is the second installment of our piping instruction video. If you recall, last week we talked about the chanter. Hopefully you've been able to acquire a chanter. If not, the rest of the lesson might be kind of difficult, but hey, we'll keep going. So what we're going to learn today is we're going to learn the various positions of the chanter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up
we have all the
notes
notes of the
slides.
We start with the low A,
and this will basically show you the fingering of
moving
the
up
chanter.
the chanter holes. We have B.
So this is the first slot.
C. D. E. F. G. And high A. So those are basically the notes of the bagpipe. And when you play them, actually, they look a little bit different than what you're actually seeing, but those are the actual notes. Next, so I want you to basically commit those notes to memory. What we're going to talk about next is how you play each of those notes on the bagpipe. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through each note, and I'm going to show you the fingering as how you do each note. Now, first let's discuss what it's equivalent to on the piano you have the C, which is your standard placement of your hands for your beginning chord. Well, there's a similar thing to the pipe. It's the low A. And the low A is made by taking all of the holes on the chanter and starting at the top, taking your first finger and placing it over the first hole, which is, I've got to look, sorry, there. Then the second finger faces. Now where you want to place those, if you can see, is I'm going about to the first knuckle of each finger here, and I'm using that part of the finger to close the hole. I'm not using the tip of my finger like this. A lot of instruments use the fingering where they try to do this with the fingering. And we are not doing that. Think of your finger as a lever. And I'll say this quite a few times during our practice, but the finger is like a lever that comes off and on, and your finger should be straight as you make the note. So you're going to use your thumb on the very back to cover the hole on the back, at the same time using your finger to cover the first hole. This finger then covers the second hole. This finger covers the third hole. Now we'll take this hand, the first finger, and it will cover this hole like that. The next hole is covered here with this finger. Notice how my fingers are all straight. Third, and the little pinky, we just keep it floating in the air like a flag. So this is what we call the beginning position. And your little finger likes to do its little thing out here. Oh boy! This finger just sits there out of the way. In fact, if you ever had to have a finger cut off and you're a bagpiper, this finger here is the one you would choose because it doesn't do anything. So this is called the standard position, or the low A. Now what we're going to do is we're also going to take our finger and cover the bottom hole. Now every one of our fingers is covering a hole except for little finger guy here, little piggy. See? Okay, this is called a low G. And that's the low G note. To know if it sounds something like this,
When you're making, try to check your fingers to make sure you're fully covering the holes of the chanter. This is a very unforgiving instrument, and it requires that you make a very good connection over the hole so that no air gets out. That all of the fingers are completely covering all of the holes to make the low G, except for the little finger on the left hand. Let me show you a diagram of what the low G looks like in the fingering position. So this was called the low G, and if you'll notice, it covers all the holes of the bagpipe, except for little pinky here. Sounds like this. Okay, and some of you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, I thought you said the lowest note on the bagpipe was the low A. Well, no. When a note is open, that is when it's considered the note. So if you look here, by covering that lowest note, it makes it a note lower, or a low G. So even though the bagpipe note is a low A, when I cover it, it makes it a low G. If I uncover it, it makes it a, you'll notice low this positioning, correct, takes the low G, little finger of the right hand, and lifts it off of the chanter, revealing the low A. Here's the positioning for the low A. So that is called the low A. And so if you'll notice, where we had all of our fingers on the, all of our fingers were on the chanter, and you see that our fingers are straight. We lift the little finger off, and that now gives us a low A, which sounds like this. My chanter reads a little weird, so sometimes I have to get it to come in. So we played a low G. So why don't you try that with me together? We'll start with the low G. 1, 2, 3. My other finger got a little excited there, sorry. Sometimes they just get excited to come up off the chanter. Now we are going to take the low little finger off and the ring finger on our right hand off. Now you've learned so that the bottom two holes are exposed. Let's learn the B. So now we'll let my little finger do its job. Get myself acquainted here. I've had the G, A, B. To make the B, you take the bottom two fingers off of the chanter, as you see, and you can play it like this. So let's go back. We know our G. Let's form the G now with all fingers on. And let's go up the scale to B. In the C note, the two fingers, your middle finger and the ring finger, come off of the chanter to expose the middle two notes. Let's look at C. Now the C is a little bit different. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, I've taken out that for G, that for A. Well, B must be this, right? You're almost right, except you got to bring your little pinky back down again. So these two fingers are off, and your little, look at them going all splayed. Trying to show you though. Here, let's turn to the other side here. There you can see to the side. There we go. Down, up, down, up. See how those two fingers, that's a low G, that's a C. That's a low G, that's a C. Sounds like this. It's a French ambulance. No, but you could be. You never know. That could be how I got it. You know, the French and Scott were friends. So anyway, so G, B, C. So you make the C. Each of you make the C by taking your two fingers off and placing your one little finger back on the chanter to make this sound. Together, let's start from a low G, and let's play up the scale to C now. With the D note, only the little finger on the right hand is on the chanter. The other fingers lift up completely. Okay, so let's look at the D, shall we? So, there we are again. Ha! So, this is the D note. Now, the D note's interesting because when you make the D note, the bottom hand, let's see, the little finger stays in place and the top three fingers come off. Like that, see? See how I've got those? Down, up, down, up. So this is how the D sounds. So if I were to go from the G up to the D, it would go like this. So let's do that together, shall we? We'll start at the low G, and we'll work our way all the way up to the D, and we'll hold it for a second, and then we'll come right back down, D, C, B, A, and low G. So let's start with the low G. I'll go slow. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, screwed you up. It's really hard when you're trying to think about it. Okay, I'm just going to do it. You're just going to follow me, all right? With the E note, the little finger on the right hand and the ring finger on the left hand are brought off the chanter to reveal those two notes. Good job. Okay. Okay, so this note is the E note. And if we're going to make the E note, what we have to do is we have to remember, if we take our beginning position with all notes on, we take our little pinky off and let it wave in the breeze. And we take this pinky off and we let it wave in the breeze. Now we got 3. They're all just waving. Hey, we're doing nothing. And it sounds like this. Well, you don't do the little grace note, but I mean, it's an E. So, if we were to start all the way from the bottom, I'll stand up and show you what that looks like. Okay, So let's do it together. We'll do it together very slowly, starting with the low G. Get your fingers in the right position. Make sure that the back hole, oh, see, there we go. Beep, 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 beep. Make sure it's covered fully with your thumb. If you get squeaking, squawks, or things, that's really why I would rather do Skype lessons with you, because I can identify the problems early and correct them so you don't develop bad habits. But if you can't, then just do these video lessons. Okay. So we're going to start with a low G. Our fingers are straight like levers covering the holes. One more time? Okay, one more time. With the F as with the E, the bottom hand, 3 notes remain the same. Okay, there we go. With the F, now we're all the way up to E. We're venturing on to F, leaving only the index finger. Hi, this is the F. Now, when we do the F, I'm going to start from the standard position. I'm not going to always start from a low G. This is a standard position, basically, is the low A. So, from the low A position, you've already got your E, right, where you let these two. Well, now you're going to let 3 of your fingers float in the wind. And just cover the single hole and the back hole with your forefinger and your thumb. And you still have the little finger off on the bottom. And that is F. So we can now go from low G to high F. Let's try that slowly twice through to see if we can do it. You'll want to pause the tape and practice it on your own a little bit, and then try it with me. Here we go. One more time. The high G is an interesting note because all the fingers except for the thumb on the left hand come off the chanter. The thumb remains on the back finger hole all the way up to cover it. Let's tackle the high G. Now with the high G, basically we're going to keep all of our low 3 fingers on with the little pinky off like this. And we're going to basically take all of our fingers off except for our little thumb on the very back, which is still covering the hole, as you can see from the picture in the previous slide. So that's a high G. Now notice if I take my thumb off, it changes the pitch. So we have to keep our thumb on that as we come up. So high G, and then to make the F right, we just put the 1 finger down. So let's come up and down the scale from our low G to our high G. We can do it. I know you can. Let's try. Here we go. Are you with me? Good job. Let's try it again. Good. Now we only have one note left. That's the high A. I mean, you can hit a high A. Okay, well, we're going to try right now. Okay, so as we saw from the picture, this one's a little bit different. We've got our lower, excuse me, we've got our lower three hands on the chanter, correct? And then we take our index finger, that's this one here, and we're going to put it, actually we're going to use this finger right here. That's your ring finger on your left hand. The picture says index finger, sorry, made a mistake. This is your ring finger, covers the hole, and it's the one right above the other three. So basically you're going from a G, which is when you've got your thumb on the back, then you put your here and let off with your finger. It's kind of difficult because they have to kind of go like that, and like a little seesaw or something. So let's hear what that sounds like. So we play the A. So now we have all the tools we need to go from a low G to a high A. So let's try that. After you've had some chance to practice the fingering, and you've got it now, high A. Remember the high A, the thumb comes off on the back, and then it comes back on for the G. So let's try it, see if we can do it. Did you do it? Have any problems? Hey, look, you get to look at my fat belly. Trust me, it was a lot fatter a little while ago. Here we go, one more time, starting with the low G. Remember, fingers straight like levers. We're covering our rear hole. That sounds bad. Forget I said that. You're covering the high A hole. Oh, that doesn't sound any better, does it? You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's start again. We're going to take a break, take a breath. By keeping your fingers straight and on the holes and making sure that the back hole is covered completely, you get nice, crisp, clear notes without any crossing noises, which we'll go over a little bit in the next lesson. For now, I just want you to learn to make the notes sound and to do the finger positioning. So what you're going to do is like this. And if you can get doing at that speed, we'll be ready to move on to the next lesson. So, this has been Piper Bob. It's been fun teaching you the basic notes of the bagpipe chanter. Remember, if you'd like to get a little more personal teaching, I do set up Skype lessons, and we can negotiate the price. It's no big deal. We can work with your budget or whatever we have to do. But when we do Skype lessons, that way I can see exactly how your notes are sounding. I can diagnose some of the problems that might be taking place with your fingering, and catch any mistakes early so that they don't become big mistakes later. But thanks again. This is the second lesson in the Bagpipe series, and I'm Piper Bob. And you can find me on my website at piperbob.com, or shoot me an email at bob, B-O-B, at piperbob.com. And I'm available for funerals and weddings and private parties, as long as you live in this area of Utah, which I live in.
You want me to fly someplace, you pay for the plane ticket and I'll come. All right, especially if it's like Hawaii, because that'd be really great. I mean, if you really want to, you know. All right, well, never mind. Okay, well, thanks again for enjoying the lesson, and I'll see you next time with Lesson 3.